There's no way to slice it. There's no way to dance around it. There's no way to use bullet time around this shit. There's no excuse that 3 big announced titles back 3 years ago for the Nintendo Switch are nowhere to be found with rock solid dates. We can understand Metroid Prime 4, that they scrapped that and they started from the beginning, and that was a year ago. Yeah, I could understand that. So we could put that one aside. But the fact that you even let it, Nintendo, get to this point because you wanted to let another studio work on it, and when that studio's progress wasn't to your liking, you wanted to finally take over the product and give it some quality to it, where that should have been your intention from Jump Street. It should have been your intention from Jump Street. Seriously. Like, there's no way to make excuses for that. Metroid, Star Fox are two of the most underappreciated franchises by Nintendo themselves. And I say that because Metroid Prime should have been treated much better. It should have. We would have had that game out by now. And then let's move on to Bayonetta 3. Another game that was announced at the beginning of the Nintendo Switch cycle. And all we got from Platinum Games is it's still in development. It's still coming. You know? We got one teaser trailer. That's it. 3 years ago. 3 years ago. What is this? Resident Evil 2 remake all over again? We do it? More than likely it is. When did they now say? In 2015 with the We Do It, and we didn't get a solid trailer until like maybe 3 years later. So, what we going on? 4 years from the announcement? Like in a couple of months? It's crazy. You know? This is the We Do It game of this generation. I know it's the same generation, but you get what I'm saying. Like, as for a time span, but it's the Nintendo Switch's version of We Do It. I mean, come on now. Are we even surprised? Platinum Games is like, they consist of a lot of former Capcom employees. I know, so I'm not even shocked about it. But Bayonetta, honestly, all jokes aside, is one of my favorite franchises of the last decade. I kid you not. It's the reason why I bought a Wii U. When I found out that Bayonetta 2 would only be on Nintendo's Wii U, I was like, oh shit. I loved that game. I loved Bayonetta 1. And then when I found out that Bayonetta 1 was included with this game when I bought it, I was like, oh, hell yes. And it had Nintendo exclusive features like costumes, weapons. Like, you got to play with Samus's blaster. You know how I just talked about Metroid Prime 4. And look, you got a little treat there. They gave it a little Nintendo treatment to it. So I first played it on the Xbox 360 and fell in love with the franchise there. So not to see anything about I'm about to say Devil May Cry. Well, Hideki Kamiya, he created this, so he's on my mind. Devil May Cry was the reason why I got into this game, because one day I was looking up information about the next Devil May Cry, and somehow I got connected to this Bayonetta series. I was at the store, and someone actually like, oh, this is about the maker of Devil May Cry. It's this new franchise. Like somebody in GameStop back in the day, before GameStop became, what it is now, actually was like, yo, this game here is dope. Like, literally, he was like, this is about the makers of Devil May Cry. You're gonna like it. I tried it out. It's dope. That's how I fell in love with the series, by word of mouth. and the series just took off. And then that's how I fell in love with Vanquish also. Same way. Somebody's like, yo, you like Virtual On? I was like, what? Yeah, I remember that game. It's like that combined with Gears of War on steroids. He literally said something, to paraphrase him, that it's like Virtual On and Gears of War had a baby. So I fell in love with Platinum Games from there. There's been some questionable games they made. Lots of them. After a while they started saying, like, you know what? Here, we Platinum Games, so here, let's just throw that P on that game and people will like it. And it became the same type of, how can we say, combat engine for the most part. Transformers Domination was the same thing. Like how you fought in that game was a beat 'em up kind of style. You got to dodge at the perfect amount of time. It started getting really monotonous with a lot of the games when they came to certain franchises. And then, I mean, hell, it's a mechanic that you can rely on when it comes to Platinum games. So I just come to accept that. Nier Automata. If you look at Nier Automata, same thing. You do a perfect dodge and you can unleash a lot of attacks. So at first I was angry at it, and then I was like, you know what? It's a Platinum Games trope. So anyway, before I went off on this tangent, that's the second game. Bayonetta 3 is the second game that was announced 3 years ago, and we have nothing about it. Nothing. But let's finish off with SMT 5, Shin Megami Tensei 5. The game that I bet a lot of people will not support because it's going to be a much more difficult game than Persona 5. The game that somehow every Nintendo Switch fan wanted because, they actually saw that it was such a success. And then Joker ended up in Smash Brothers Ultimate, and people their imaginations just ran wild. I'm sorry. If you can't even play Mortal Kombat 11 natively on the Nintendo Switch, how did you really think a game like Persona 5 can actually fit on a Switch cartridge? And people will bring up the fact that Breath of the Wild had very, very vast and empty areas. It did. You just had a lot of grass, a lot of mountains, not so much detail compared to what a game like Persona 5 had. I mean, look at the sacrifices that what's the game again? Speaking of Atlas, what's the game again? Damn, it's right on the tip of my tongue. Tokyo Mirage Sessions. Look at all the sacrifices it made to fit on the Wii U. All the characters, all the background characters had to be these silhouettes, these colorful silhouettes. You know why? Because to cut down on detailing the characters so it can fit and work around the graphical limitations of both the Wii U and now the Switch, because it came out for the Switch, they made all the background characters who were non-essential, non-playable characters, NPCs, are mostly colorful silhouettes unless they are a character that pushes the narrative along. So imagine a game like Persona 5 that doesn't use tactics like that. It's just not going to work on the Switch. It's going to be a lot. And this is why I say whatever Nintendo does for their next gen console, they need to go back to traditional console, and they need to continue to support the successful Nintendo Switch as the hybrid / handheld. Why you think they made the Switch Lite? They trying to ease you into that. You can say no, they're not, but we've seen it happen. Okay. Oh, don't worry, you're gonna still be able to play your Game Boy Advance games. Next model. Oh, we took away the Game Boy Advance port. Even though I'm looking at it like I know you guys have moved on from the Game Boy Advance, but they ease you into a false sense of security, and then they take away a feature so they can graduate you in to another console that you would they will graduate you into it. This is It happens. It happens. I mean, look, even Sony did it with the PlayStation 3. They was like, okay, now our PlayStation 3s are gonna be lighter and smaller. But guess what? You won't be able to play your old PlayStation games. Those days are over, buddy. Those days are over. You want the new smaller model? Here you go. That feature's been stripped away. Good luck, buddy. Like, they do things like this. But what I originally was talking about was Shin Megami Tensei V. It's a more difficult franchise than its spinoff. It really is. And I've watched my friend get his ass handed to him in Shin Megami Tensei V. He talks about it and he likes the challenge. And even he said a lot of these Nintendo fans aren't going to like that. And I'm just waiting there. I'm like that meme of Michael Jackson from Thriller, of him in the movie theater with his girlfriend just eating popcorn with a smile on his face for Thriller. That's how I am right now when it comes to the reaction of Shin Megami Tensei V. I mean, it's to the point that they even turned off Permadeath and Fire Emblem series. Like, you could turn it off or on. So, oh man, the Nintendo fans aren't ready for Shin Megami Tensei. Hell, I'm not ready for Shin Megami Tensei. Why? Because I'm just not into the series. But the fact that it was announced 3 years ago, we have nothing. Not a zilch, nil. And everybody just was like, we'll make up excuses. Well, as long as it's going to come out and be a quality game, I don't care. Okay, keep telling yourselves that. But y'all the same people slamming Microsoft for Halo Infinite, right? Anyway, y'all, because I'm a Fury, I'm here, and now I'm out. Peace.